Hi there, welcome back. In this lesson, I'm going to explain you how to upload the CSV file. Means in the CSV file that I'm having all the rows and columns, and this information I want to upload them in the MongoDB Atlas, particularly in the collection of documents. Means each and every row will be a document, something like this that you're seeing, like movie ID, movie name is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and so on. And that's what we can see, the Wakanda Forever and year or whatever is there in the rows and columns, and that one I have to put them in a document format. Alright, that's what we're going to see in this lesson. Alright, now let's get started. The first step is you should have a CSV file which should have something like this. So any CSV file, if you open that, you will see that in the rows and columns. And in my case, I'm having the files, for example, the column names that was there is the movie ID, movie name, year, certificate, and so on. And I'm having approximately 16,558 records are there. Okay, so there are huge records are there, and remember, each and every row here will be a document for me. And also one thing I observed that we also having the missing values. So here is where we should be a little bit careful. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started. First step what we'll do is that let's open your favorite IDE. It could be anything, it could be your Visual Studio Code, PyCharm, or anything, whatever the IDE you want, you can use this. But here I'm using the Python. That's the reason I'm using the VS Studio Code. And in the VS Studio Code, I'm very much interested in the IPYNB notebook. So let me create the IPYNB notebook. So this one will be upload CSV file in MongoDB Atlas. Okay, now use IPYNB is the extension. Alright, so now I have successfully created a notebook. Alright, now the next step what you have to do is you have to go to your MongoDB Atlas. So let me go to the MongoDB Atlas, and this is the page of the MongoDB Atlas where I have an account and I created the cluster and everything is there. Now the most important part is you have to connect to this MongoDB Atlas. Once you are in the MongoDB Atlas, and on the left hand side you can see there is a security section. In the security section you can see the database access. Click on the database access, and here I'm already having the users that was already there. And in your case, if you're not having any users, then you have to try to create a new users to the database, and then you need to create the key. So what I'll do is let me create a password. So first one, it should be my username, and what I'll do, let me create my username as my user. Okay, and the password, I highly recommendable to generate the auto secure password, and you can show that this is the auto secure password, and copy this and make sure that you paste this password in somewhere which is important for you. In my case, first of all, let me paste it in my notebook, and this is my password, and the username will be my user. So that's the user I want to create. Alright, so now what do you have to do? I think everything is good. Now click on add user. Oh, you have to select the roles and privileges. Of course, the built-in role, you can click on the built-in role and make sure that it has a read and write access. Now click on add user. Alright, now I have successfully created the user. Now what we can do is I can use this user and now go to the cluster and click on the cluster. Now there you can see in the cluster there is a connect user. As soon as if you click on this connect, and there you can see the different ways that we can connect your application. We can have the drivers, Compass, Shell, Atlas, and so on. So what I'll do is that I will use a driver. Just click on this driver. Next is you can see there are some options that was there is select your driver and version. This driver and version is the version related to the MongoDB, and the driver will be the language at which your Python need to run. and at which your application need to run. And here I select by default Python, and however you can also have the different languages also there. So let me set the Python by default, and because I'm using the Python, and you can also select the what is a stable latest version. And then you can see there is an install a driver. You can install the driver using the pip install. Once you have the Python, you can use a pip install Pymongo. And after that, this is the most important thing. So what we have is the connecting string. So this is the connection string, and what you have to do is you need to copy this connection string. Also, if you click on this toggle button, we can also get the complete code here. So what I'll do, I will click on this toggle button, and now I'm having the complete code with me. I will simply copy this and go to my MongoDB, and what I'll do here, let me create a new code and paste it here. So let me, okay, this is good. Now here we go. This is what is important for me. Now I have the Pymongo, and everything is there. And make sure that you have installed the Pymongo. I already installed the Pymongo. Now the complete code is there. In the URI section, you need to do some small changes. The changes is you need to provide the DB username and DB password. The username is something which we have just created, which has a read and write access. And the password is also we have generated. This is my DB password, and paste it successfully. Now what you have to do is you just need to execute it. Shift enter, and that will execute it. Alright, now if you see this message like ping your deployment and you have successfully connected, which means that we have successfully connected to our MongoDB. So you are done. So you have successfully connected to the MongoDB. Now the next step is, let's take the data. Basically we want to upload the data. Now let's take this data and make sure that the data that you're having, you put this data in this particular folder, in the same folder wherever you're working. And in my case, I put that in the sci-fi.csv and in the data folder. Now I need to load the data. The next step is load the data set. How to load the data set? I will use the pandas. Import pandas as PDF. We should have to install the pandas. If you're not having the pandas, you can install the pandas using pip install pandas. Okay, that's it. Now what we can do is we can import this. Now the next step is you should load the CSV file. So how to load the CSV file? In order to load the CSV file, we can use pd dot, okay, let's say df is equal to pd dot read CSV, and what is the file I want to read is sci-fi. Oh, basically this is in the different path. The path of the file in the file is there in the data folder and the sci-fi. So for that, what we can do is that data slash sci-fi.csv. So make sure you put dot, okay, like this, and this would be the local. And now execute this, and we have successfully read this file. We can look into the records by df.head, and this will show you the top 5 rows, and where you can see what are the column names and particularly the records that was there. So in this case, the movie ID is this, movie name is Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and the movie released is 2002, certificate, and so on. The same thing that what you are seeing in Excel, we can also see here. But however, here there are few missing values out there. All right, now the next step is you should deal with the missing values. Missing values is something like nan. So in MongoDB, nan will not work. You should actually convert that into the null values, because this is the nan is something the format of the numerical Python. So what I want to say is, if you call this particular column, for example df.this, and we have some lot of missing values are there, and if you actually look into the one of the record, and it is NaN. So this NaN is actually the numerical Python NaN. So this is having the conflicts with the MongoDB. What you have to do is you need to put that in the proper none data type. So what I want to say is that if you look at the data type of this is not a null data type. This is something which is in the NumPy and float 64 data type. We need the data type into something like this. So for example, this is the proper null and the data type is none type. So we need to actually convert that into the proper data type. For that, what we will do is we will use the pandas and try to fill the missing values. First of all, what I mean to say is that how to fill the missing values. So first step is not to fill the missing values. After use df is equal to, first you convert everything into object, and now use the command where pd dot not na of df. So wherever you see the not na stands for not a number. So basically this means NaN, the whatever you're saying NaN, it stands for not a number. Okay, so whenever you see a not na, not a number, and there we have to replace that with none. So that's what you have to do here. Now execute it. Now what we can do is that you can simply take the df of head, and let's say this is my case, I will display top 3, and now you can scroll to the right, and here we see it's a none now. The data type is got changed. This is the most important step that you have to do. Now I think we are good. Now the next step is we have to upload this one into the MongoDB. So generally, in order to insert any document in the MongoDB, so there are the two commands out there. One is insert one and insert many. So if at all you are having the many records out there, and then we have to use a insert many. But however, the format of this should be something like this. It should be the list, and followed by each and every document should be a dictionary, and particularly in Python, something like this. Okay, now each and every document, and of course, let's say if you consider one document, the document, for example, if you consider here, the keys in the document will be something like we should have the movie ID, and the value should be, let's say if you consider this is a value. Okay, and again movie name, that's a movie name, yes, movie underscore name, and we should actually create the document in this format. So movie underscore name, and you should put something like everything everywhere all at once, something like this, and so on. And however, this is impractical to do everything manually by typing everything like this, and of course there are around 16,000 documents out there. But what I meant to say is that this is the format we should actually use. In pandas, we can actually directly do this, convert the data frame into this format. The format is, let's take this df. Now what I want, basically this is a list of dictionaries, and for that I can use a df dot to dict, and here there are a couple of many options out there. So by default it is the orient is records. So make sure that you set that to orient equal to records. Alright, now if you execute this, now we are good. Now let's say if you look into the results of this, and here you go, that's what we are expecting, the list of dictionaries. So now we have the for movie ID, movie name, year, certificate, and everything is there in the dictionary format. This is what we want, right? Now the next step is pretty straightforward. What you have to do is, let's go to my MongoDB Atlas, and in the MongoDB Atlas, let's go to the browse collection, and in the browse collection, now where exactly you want to save. For example, I want to save my collections, that whatever I've created in the my data. In the my data, let me create a new collection named movies. In that, let me insert all the records. For that, what you have to do is just remember in the above, when you are executing the MongoDB client, so we have the client is there. Okay, this is important for now. Now let's scroll down and let's take it's a db is equal to client, and the simplest way to navigate to the database is just take this my data. So let's go to the MongoDB Atlas. That's what it should be there. Now execute this. Now we have successfully connected to the MongoDB my data. Now what I can do is that type the my data db dot list of collection names, and you can see what are the collection names that was already existing in that particular database. We have tips, my collection, employee, sample data, IQ score, etc. So just verify it. Yes, exactly. That was it. My collection, employees, IQ score, sample data, and tips are there. Okay, now let's create a new database. New collection. Create a collection. And in order to create a collection, this should be collection equal to db dot create collection, and the collection name I want to create is movies. Execute it. Done. Now we have successfully created the collection. Now let's take this variable collection dot insert many. Now what you have to do is you have to pass the variable which is list of ticked, and just put this and execute it. Just wait for a couple of seconds. And done. So now it took around 8 seconds and I have successfully inserted 16,000 documents into my collection. You can also look into the count of collection. Take this collection dot count of documents. This is count underscore documents. Oh yeah, we have to give the curly braces. Now we have the 16,557 documents out there. Right, so now we have done. Now go back to my MongoDB Atlas, and this is my MongoDB Atlas. You can click on my data. Okay, and here you can see there is a movies is there. Okay, here we are not able to see this, right? Let me refresh this. And so here now you can see that there's a movies is there, and even at the same time in the my data here we have the movies is there, and the number of documents are 16,557, and the logical data size is 8.42, and how much space it is actually consuming is 4.81. Now click on this movies, and here we go. This is how we can actually upload all the documents, and particularly in this format. And now you can see you can do whatever the query operations, aggregation pipelines, and anything you can apply on this collection. Cool, right? This is how we can actually upload a CSV file where you have the records in the rows and column format, and that one into a collection of documents. Hope you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit on the bell icon for more interesting videos like this. Thank you very much.